If you look at the smartest clinics in your space right now, a lot of them actually outsource their billing, but they don't lose control. And so in this video, I'm going to break down how they actually do that and the mistakes that average clinics make so that you can simply copy the model without gambling with your cash flow with your next billing department. If you are a private practice owner or maybe a clinic director who is in network and bills some insurances, and you feel sometimes you're stuck between hiring internally or outsourcing everything, this is going to be for you. You're tired of the denials, you're tired of the AR piling up, and you're tired of the surprise deposits. But you're scared that a billing company, if you outsource it, will turn your revenue into a black box of 6 to 12 months of piled up AR. And you don't want to trade one headache for another. And so in this video, I'm going to give you a 3-part framework: what must stay in-house, what you can safely outsource, and then more importantly, the control system that keeps you in charge no matter which path you decide. So either way, you win, and that's the goal. So let's start with the first really big idea. This is the control core. Most clinics either keep too much in-house and they end up drowning in a bunch of work, or they outsource everything and they wake up to no visibility and a billing team that's harder and harder to get in touch with. So they lose control, right? And maybe that's already happened to you. I know it's already happened to me, right? You end up, you hand billing to a company and you stop logging into the clearinghouse, you stop looking at it, and 90 days later, you find out that they stopped billing one of your top payers, or maybe you find that revenue is declining, or they're not collecting the full amount that you're owed. That's not just annoying, that's actually pretty dangerous for your business. So we draw a very hard line between your control core and what actually gets executed by the outsourced billing department. And so your control core never leaves the clinic. That includes your payer contracts, your fee schedule decisions, the write-off rules, your refund policies, and your daily cash posting and bank reconciliation. That is what you own, okay? Those are the levers that actually move cash and set your rules. If you end up giving those away, you're no longer just outsourcing billing. You're outsourcing ownership. And that's something that you can never outsource, okay? Then there's the execution. That is what you can actually outsource. So you can outsource things like charge entry, claim submission, routine AR follow-ups, working denials under your rules, and sending patient statements. So those are things that can be outsourced to a billing company. That work is really important, but it's implementing decisions that you've already made around the rules that you've already set. So you end up defining the playbook, they just run the plays for you, right? And just coming back, the key compliance nuance is that you control all of the policies and the oversight of the department, but the vendor executes under those policies. The bottom line is that you are the boss, period, okay? They are not your financial parents. They're a contractor that is following your rules, all right? So your first action item is to make 2 columns. So you're going to make 2 lists, right? Column 1 is the control core that always stays in-house. Column 2 is your execution list that you're willing to delegate, assuming that you have agreement around the policies that you're setting. Okay, the next big idea is you're going to install a simple billing operation system. This is important. You got to understand this, okay? Outsourcing will fail when you don't have a system to measure and manage. That's huge. That's huge. All right. You think that when you hire a billing company that you're hiring outcomes, but you're really just, all you're buying is labor. Okay. And here's the part that most owners miss. No matter whether you decide to keep billing in-house or you outsource it, you still have to own the workflow. You have to own that, and you have to hold them accountable with metrics and data, and you have to treat them just like they were somebody that was working for you internally. Okay. You can't outsource being the CEO. You can't outsource being the primary owner of the revenue cycle. That has to stay with you no matter what. So here's the 4-piece billing operating system that you can plug in. Piece 1 is your access. All right. I've made this mistake. You own the logins to the EMR. You own the logins to the clearinghouse. You own the logins to the bank. The vendor gets individual user accounts under your master login. Okay. If they ended up leaving tomorrow, you still see everything. You still have ownership of everything. There's no high yield, like hostage logins. No, we'll run that report for you. None of that. They have to come in under your control. Okay. Piece number 2 is your scoreboard. All right. So you look at a very tiny set of core KPIs every week the same way, no excuse. All right. Most practices, here's probably where I'd start. I like to look at collected versus projected. That's KPI number 1. That's a percentage, right? I like to look at your percentage of AR that's over 90 days old. Number 3 is the clean claim rate. What percentage of our claims are going out cleanly and getting paid on time in full? All right. And then I like to look at the denial rate, and I want to know categories. Why were they denied? Was it an insurance authorization issue? Was it a verification issue? Was it a benefits max issue? What was the denial reason? All right. And so you want to see, are we collecting what we should? How much money is collected in the old AR, is outstanding in the old AR? How often are we getting it right the first time? And where are the payers saying no? Because the no, that's where you can go in and fix that so that you can improve your clean claim rate, right? Clean claim rate goes up, AR goes down, everything goes up, right? Projected versus collected goes up, okay? Piece 3 is your cadence, okay? So you're going to run a 30-minute weekly huddle and a 60-minute monthly review with whoever is doing your billing, whether you're doing that in-house or a vendor, all right? Very, very important. And you're going to run the same agenda every time. You're going to review KPIs, talk through the denials, identify the systems issues that is impacting the KPIs, right? And agree on your priority actions for the week. That's basic agenda, okay? The key there is that they report to you, not the other way around, okay? So you set the agenda, you set that expectation, they come to the meeting with the agenda ready to report to you. All right, so that way you're not chasing things, okay? Set that expectation with them early. Okay, piece 4 is gonna be your guardrails. This is kind of piggybacking off of that agenda. Your guardrails and your agreements. Typically, they're called service level agreements. This is the kind of the contract that you have with your vendor, okay? This is where you want to make sure you write your expectations down, okay? Number 1, all claims go out within 48 hours. Number 2, all denials are touched within 7 days. Number 3, all eligibility is done before the visits, right? Things like that, okay? Number 4, the KPIs that we're going to use to measure performance. Number 5, the agenda that we're going to use to report it and who owns what part of the agenda, things like that, right? Then you want to tie those agreements back to the actual reports. So if they say that we're on top of it, right? The number should actually prove it. Fine, you're on top of it. Great. Show me the data, right? I like to think, just keep it objective. You know what I mean? So your second action item is to build a one-page billing operating system. One page, simple. You can use ChatGPT. You can grab the transcript of this video, plug it into ChatGPT, and tell them to make you an agreement, right? Very simple, okay? You're gonna, that operating system should have a few bullet points. The access criteria, your scorecards, your cadence, your service level agreements, okay? If you don't have that, you're gonna end up flying blind, whether you're billing in-house or on a dashboard. Consider the service level agreements kind of like your job description, right? For that outside vendor. Okay, big idea number 3. You're gonna design a hybrid model, okay? With clean handoffs, period. All right. The mess that people get with their billing isn't usually in-house versus outsource. The mess is usually that muddy middle split, right? That nobody can ever really explain. We call it the billing issues. It's just like the stuff that's in between the biller and the admin team. All right. The mess is usually the muddy middle that nobody can ever explain. We call it the billing issues. It's kind of looks like, your front desk does some billing, your old biller does some billing, right? The vendor does some billing. And what ends up happening is cash is kind of leaking everywhere. It's just hard to manage, right? And so here's what that could look like on the ground. Your front desk helps with coding. The vendor edits it again. The provider changes the note. Maybe the note has to come back and the provider ends up changing it. And now there are 3 people that touch the same claim. And nobody owns the result. And nobody can tell you why that happened, right? So to fix that, we're going to use a simple RACI. I believe it's called RACI style. It's a project management tool. You can Google it. You can use that a similar approach like that on each step. All right. You don't necessarily need like acronyms. You just need clear ownership for each step. All right. And so what you end up doing is you map the full billing flow on your paper. I use Google Sheets, right? The full billing flow. All right. Eligibility, right? Coding. Think about it. Patient comes in. You got to check eligibility. Then you got to code it. You got to charge. You got to do charge entry, right? You got to do claim submission. You got to do some denial work. You got to do patient collections. You got to post it, right? You got to map all those responsibilities out. And then for each step, you assign one responsible owner, either clinic or vendor. Who owns the outcome? All right. And we want to try to avoid the kind of both, if at all possible, right? We definitely don't want to, we all help. It's like one person is accountable, right? And so as you map that out, one box will maybe get a C for clinic and one a V for vendor, all right? And then you can define what a good day looks like for each of those steps. What does the good day look like, right? For eligibility, what does good mean? For claims, what's the standard for a clean claim and out the door, right? What's that good day look like? Those ideal outcomes come from you. That's important. And you have to create an agreement with your vendor on what those ideal outcomes look like. And so then you can approach that relationship and tell them what a good day looks like so that they can show you how close they are to that each week, right? Then you can run a 90-day pilot instead of flipping the whole thing overnight, right? Start the vendor on 1 or 2 payers or maybe just one location first. Make sure that they can get it right. Measure your KPIs, test your process, and see how they respond when things start to break. If the system ends up working, you can expand their role. You can create more dependence on them. If it doesn't, you fix it while the risk is still small, right? So your third action item is to draw your billing flow. You want to label each step C or V and define what a good day looks like. And then, if you're in the middle of a transition, you run a 90-day pilot before you hand over the keys to everything. Okay, make sure that they can hit those numbers and make sure that they can fix it whenever things go wrong. Okay? Quick bonus tip, and it's a big one. Don't give away the keys to the kingdom. I know I've kind of mentioned it. Never let your billing company be the only one who knows how to access your money or your data. Big mistake. All right? You own the contracts, you own the MPIs, you own the logins, and you own the reports. All right? They can help you run the stuff, but they can't own it. Also, avoid long, one-sided contracts where you can't even exit, even if their KPIs start to tank. Tie any renewals that you have to performance, not just time. That's really important. All right? It's basically like, if you hit these metrics, we stay. If you miss them consistently, we are able to go shop for another person who can hit them. That's it, right? And here's a simple habit that'll save you a lot of pain as well. Do a quarterly audit. So create a quarterly audit process with you and maybe your favorite admin person. You pull some random sample of claims and trace them from visit to payment and make sure that everything matches your rules and your bank account. Really important. All right. It doesn't have to be fancy. What you're doing is you're just proving to yourself that your system is actually working and not just sounding good on paper. That's important. Systems are great, but only the ones that are executed on stay. All right. Last quick little recap before I leave. Smart clinics outsource labor, but they never outsource complete control of their billing department, right? They keep and they own the control core in-house, the contracts, the rules, the cash, and they run a very simple billing operating system that outlines access, the scoreboard, cadence, and service level agreements. And they use a clear hybrid split with clean handoffs instead of everybody does everything, right? If you do that, you get the benefit of a billing team without turning your revenue into a mystery. You can start to own it. All right. If you want some help building this type of thing out faster, here's what I want you to do. If you want help building this out a little bit faster, here's what I want you to do. All right. If you want done for you support, where a trained remote team can help run your admin and protect your revenue cycle, you can book a call with Inbox Zero using the link somewhere in the show notes or the description. All right. If you want coaching playbooks and a community of private practice owners doing this together, you can apply to join the Private Practice Owners Club somewhere down below as well. All right. Either way, don't just nod and move on after watching this video. Pick one action from this video and put it into play in your clinic this week. If you do, your business, your team, and your bank account will thank you for it. My name's Adam, and I'll see you on the next one. God bless.